In our previous discussion regarding the dealership parts trap, a viewer named Sean provided a comment that perfectly captured the situation. He noted that this country is following the path of Cuba, where citizens drive ancient vehicles because that is all they can afford. He is entirely correct. With new trucks priced at $80,000 and dealerships intentionally phasing out the computer modules needed to maintain older trucks, Americans are being backed into a corner. However, blue-collar mechanics are refusing to surrender. They are performing the ultimate act of automotive defiance. Today, we are revealing the pre-emissions loophole. We will demonstrate why savvy owners are deliberately purchasing modern trucks with blown engines, stripping the computers from the dashboard, and installing 30-year-old analog engines to build the ultimate unkillable off-grid supertrucks. More importantly, we will expose why the EPA is actively attempting to make this specific mechanical survival strategy federally illegal. To comprehend why this rebellion is occurring, one must examine the absolute nightmare of owning a contemporary diesel truck. If you purchase a brand new heavy-duty diesel today, you aren't just buying a reliable workhorse. You are buying a ticking time bomb of federally mandated emissions hardware. Over the last decade, to satisfy impossible regulations from the Environmental Protection Agency, engineers have suffocated modern diesels with diesel particulate filters, diesel exhaust fluid injection systems, complex exhaust gas recirculation valves, and hypersensitive nitrogen oxide sensors. When even a single microscopic sensor becomes coated in soot, the computer panics. It forces your truck into limp mode on the highway, restricted to 5 miles per hour while you are hauling a heavy load. These failures have been so disastrous that just recently, in late March 2026, the Environmental Protection Agency announced it was rolling back limp mode mandates and removing requirements for diesel exhaust fluid quality sensors. But for the millions of trucks already on the road trapped by legacy software, the damage is already done. Furthermore, modern diesels utilize incredibly fragile, high-pressure fuel pumps like the notorious CP4. When that pump fails, it sends microscopic metal fragments through the entire fuel system, ruining injectors and lines. A modern diesel engine failure is no longer a simple mechanical issue. It is a hostage situation dictated by vehicle software, often costing $8,000 to $15,000 to repair. When it breaks, only the dealership possesses the proprietary scanner required to clear the code and return you to the road. So what is the solution? You perform the ultimate bypass. Smart mechanics are tracking down modern Ford Super Duties and Chevy Silverados with failed factory engines. They purchase them for a fraction of their value because the electronic powertrain is completely ruined. Then, they remove miles of useless copper wiring, pull the fried computers off the firewall, and install the holy grail of diesel engineering, the 5.9L 12-valve Cummins from 1994 to 1998. When you place a mechanical Cummins into a modern Ford chassis, a swap so popular the industry calls it FUMINS, you achieve vehicular perfection. You get the modern, comfortable, heavy-duty suspension, the quiet cabin, and the aluminum body of a newer truck. But it is powered by an untrackable, million-mile analog heart from the 1990s. You have essentially constructed a ghost truck. Why the 12-valve? Because it is 100% mechanical. It utilizes the legendary Bosch P7100 mechanical fuel injection pump. It does not have an engine control module. It does not connect to the internet, and it does not report your emissions to a corporate server. To make a 12-valve Cummins run, you only require 3 wires, one for the starter, one for the alternator, and one to hold the fuel shutoff solenoid open. That is it. Once you physically lock that fuel solenoid open, you can literally disconnect the battery, remove the alternator, and the engine will continue to run on pure, uninterrupted compression until the tank is empty. It is completely immune to the government's highly contested in-cabin surveillance mandates, and no hacker with a laptop can ever shut it down. Furthermore, because it is purely mechanical, it is not picky about its fuel. In a true grid collapse scenario where gas stations lose power, a 12-valve Cummins will run on kerosene, home heating oil, transmission fluid, or filtered waste motor oil. It is the ultimate off-grid survival machine. However, this level of true ownership absolutely terrifies regulators. You are completely bypassing their multi-billion-dollar compliance industry. This is why the Environmental Protection Agency and state regulators like the California Air Resources Board are actively weaponizing the DMV against people performing these swaps. They have spent the last 5 years levying massive multi-million-dollar fines against aftermarket tuning companies and diesel shops to crush the industry. Even with the recent rollback on greenhouse gas emission standards, the core rules under the Clean Air Act remain. Under federal emissions tampering laws, it is strictly illegal to swap an older pre-emissions engine into a newer chassis for on-road use. If your truck was manufactured in 2018, the government mandates that any engine powering it must meet 2018 emission standards. If you enter an inspection station with a purely mechanical 1995 diesel engine under the hood of a modern truck, they will fail you instantly. They will flag your VIN, deny your registration, and declare your property illegal to drive on public roads. They claim this crackdown is entirely about protecting the environment, but mechanics and truck owners know it is really a battle over property rights and control. If the automaker holds the software keys to your engine and the government dictates exactly what physical metal parts you are legally allowed to bolt to it under threat of massive fines, did the property actually transfer to you when you bought it? Or did you just sign an $80,000 contract to lease a highly regulated piece of construction equipment? They want to force you into a digital truck by making it legally and financially exhausting to keep an analog engine alive. They want to make self-reliance a crime, but the American aftermarket is fighting back. We are not just consumers, we are fabricators and problem solvers. Mechanics are using legal loopholes, registering these swap trucks as farm vehicles, securing heavy equipment exemptions, or living in rural counties that refuse to implement emissions testing. The 12-valve Cummins represents the last era of uncompromised mechanical freedom, and that is exactly why they want it banned. Have you ever seen a 12-valve swapped into a modern truck? What is the most extreme engine swap you have ever performed to escape a failing computer system? Share your thoughts in the comments below because your ingenuity is writing the survival guide for the rest of us. If you refuse to surrender your property to the dealership cartel, hit the subscribe button to join the resistance. Keep turning your own wrenches, stay off the digital grid, and we will see you in the next one. If this story changes the way you look at the machines in your driveway, please subscribe and like the channel. We are uncovering the mechanical history they tried to bury. Build for the future. The next vault of knowledge will open soon.